My name is Victor Kiarie. I'm an architect based in Nairobi, also known as the Millennial Architect. So, how did I get into architecture? Being at the University of Nairobi Architecture School, it was very difficult, but I enjoyed every moment of it. I enjoyed trying new things. I enjoyed working with technology. Immediately I got into architecture school, I started learning software and I loved it. I started learning editing software, architectural software. And then as we continued on, I started now getting more interested in more things. Virtual reality, visualization, parametric design. So I was always that student in class who just tried different things. At the end of my architecture education, you end up having to write a thesis. And what came out really strongly for me, there's the cultural bit, there's technology, and then there's sustainability. So those are the three things that really stuck out to me. I got into virtual reality in 2021, 2022, and then now in 2023, 2024, AI was starting to become a big thing, and always new technology, you will find me there. So I got into a short course by ALX, learning about different principles of AI. And so from there, I came up with an idea for an AI-powered climatic design app that allows you to use artificial intelligence to analyze climatic data. And then it helps you to come up now with guidelines for how to design more climate-responsive buildings. Once I came up with that idea, Google had a competition at that time, the Gemini API competition. And I was like, I think this is the best place to try and come up and develop the idea. So within a very short time, like a month, I was able to meet the deadline for the competition. And I was really impressed with what I came up with. Within a very short time, it worked, the prototype. And then we are at a point now where I feel like I have an MVP, a minimum viable product. The name DIRAH is Swahili. It essentially just means compass. And why is a compass important in architecture? Because this helps you first get an orientation of how your building is facing in relation to the sun, and then so how you're responding to the climate. So it's one of those principles that are embedded in architecture. Every drawing must have a compass. Why don't architects design climate responsive buildings? There isn't enough climate data. Africa, even Kenya specifically, doesn't have enough meteorological stations that covers the whole country. So if I'm doing a project in Nairobi, it's very unlikely that I'll get the right climatic data for this particular location. And that becomes a challenge. So how can you design a climate responsive buildings when you don't have the climate data to respond to it? Even if architects had the climate data, do they know how to analyze it in order to come up with the solutions? So is there a way you can simplify this for architects in such a way that you can give them the climate data and we can tell them, okay, based on the location that you're working on, this is the best way to synthesize this data. So that's how we help architects come up with climate responsive buildings.
What we need as architects is to design buildings that fit in the context that they are in. For example, there was a project I was working on in Zanzibar, which is quite an interesting climate. So I got the data from the AI along with some subtle Swahili design suggestions, which I think is very nice, that has been incorporated quite well. And I'm thinking of permanently incorporating DIRAH into my workflow.
In future, also looking to partner with the United Nations Environment Program or UN Habitat. And then the other thing that we are working on now is the system, how everything comes together, the user interface, develop the app, make it very useful to the users, monetize it so that again it's sustainable, and then scale in terms of adding more features, scale in terms of reaching out to different markets. A powerful app that helps architects and developers in Africa to develop culturally relevant and climatically responsive buildings.